Hey everyone, I'm Jade doing the Creatorcast. With me I have the Spandex guy. I'll throw some of his work on the screen over there. But hey,
Hello.
how's it going?
It be going.
It do
That
be
is
going.
that is the best I can say. It goes.
You know what? That's very valid. So you are pretty. I'm gonna say pretty well known. You got like 15,000 or something subscribers, right?
So no on that portion, but with Instagram, I did have an account before, but I don't know if you're aware, there was this purge that went around and a lot of cosplayers got hit,
Really?
and I was one of them. I had 2,500. I was STL Spidey. I still am STL Spidey, but I swapped the name so that way I don't get hit again for, possibly helping me out with this one.
Yeah.
But I had 2,500, it got hit, lost it all, and I just had to restart. I lost 7 years of work
Oh my gosh.
on that account.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, that wasn't fun.
Oh my gosh. So you're right. I was wrong. I was thinking of a different cosplayer that I've been trying to get to interview. So sorry about that.
You're right.
But you do something really awesome with your cosplay. We've talked briefly before with you go out and take photos with kids and stuff in your Spidey suit.
That is one way of putting it, yes.
How would you put it? Because I'm kind of just figuring it out.
So I do charity work on the side. As
Oh.
my side hobby, my thing like that. So I go out and I will do these charity events and stuff because I worked with the crew that I've been with since 2019. But as of recently, I have left that group and I now formed my own. It's based off Facebook, so I don't have any Instagram stuff set up for it yet. We're going to work on getting that sometime soon. But the basic concept's still the same. What we do is that we have charity events and city events, public events, donation things, school drives that will reach out to us. And we will do what we can to get to these locations. And we just run the entertainment for the crowd, help bring in notice. If it's like school drives, for example, you bring your kid's not going to be too happy with stuff because, oh, it's school, I don't want to be here. Well, then you got a bunch of superheroes around, and then it kind of makes everything a bit more easier for the family to get their stuff done.
Wow. Okay. So that is definitely way different than I thought it was. That is incredible.
Yeah, I think what you're referring to is when I do the photo shoots and everything. I partnered with a guy in town who does professional photography and stuff, and we've worked together since 2019. He would get these, trying to English here, he would set up these days and get customers and clients coming through, and then they'd bring their kids and the families and stuff like that, and then they would be like the family photos, and like getting pictures with Santa is the best way to put it, except I go a step further and I'm doing the minor acrobatics I can do, shooting webs, climbing in the alleyways. That guy just got the web shooters finished too, so
Nice.
now I just finish painting those sometime later.
All right. So I'm recording again. So that actually does bring up a question of mine. You are actually making web shooters, aren't you? Like that shoot.
Like right now or in general?
Just in general.
Yes. Also right now, I just got everything finished up. I just need to run the paintwork over it. But yeah, no, I make functional web shooters and everything like that.
That is so cool. How did you kind of work through that process? Because I assume doing that takes a ton of work and time. So how'd you kind of...
It's a ton of work. It's go ahead.
Oh, so I was just gonna more ask, how'd you kind of figure that out?
So, to answer the first part of that question, it's not that it's a ton of work, it's more just a ton of time and money as well if you're running different tests on things. For me, I started off at 15 is when I started doing all my Spider-Man shit. I'm 23 now, so I've been Spider-Man for 8 years. And I started at the beginning because I can't do backflips.
Yeah.
To get to the story of the web creators and what I started doing that for, when I went through these charity stuff, I can't do backflips. I tore my abdomen trying to learn them, and I don't do them anymore for my own safety.
Yeah.
But you always get these kids that go, oh, do a backflip. So I kind of do the weird back handspring cartwheel thing. So I have a hand, like the hand-assisted backflip, I guess is the way to put it.
Yeah.
And I do that, but then I also spin that web, because of like, if I can't do a backflip, I need something else to help keep that magic going. So
Yeah.
I started working on web shooters. At that time, I think it was Spider-Man Homecoming that was coming out, because it was 2017. So I originally had like these little string tossers and stuff like that, and fishing reels that would retract itself. So I pull out all the string, put it in my palm, and I toss it, and then I would just tug on it and it'd reel it back into my wrist. It was a cool concept, but not very viable.
Yeah.
But around 2017, Homecoming was coming out. Jay Laser was doing these lighter web shooter things.
Yeah.
And so when I started working on that, started working more on the lighter part, not the main web shooter housing itself, but I just kept experimenting over time. Eventually got a 3D printer throughout my final years of high school. And when it came to that point, it was more of Jay Laser had an idea. How can I improve on it to make it better? Because his is just, hey, it works. Here's my YouTube video.
Yeah.
I need something viable for what I do. So it just became more of a trial and error piece. And eventually I created my own web fluid to work with these things. And I don't know if I have any of those posts on this account. I know I had them on my last account. I just don't remember if I reposted them or not. But there is a bunch of photos and videos of me spinning the web, and it looks like it's photoshopped in, but it's actual spiral silly string coming out of my wrists. But it's not silly string, it's like a dissolvable fluid.
That's incredible.
So I got it to work I got it to work with these things, and it's like, as a nerd, it's super cool.
Yeah.
But it's just a pain to constantly get it to work, because then there's a science behind it to get it all working together and making sure it works. The best time for these web shooters is during the summer and like really warm weather.
Yeah.
Because heat naturally expands. Heat rises, heat expands. So inside these cartridges, these lighter cartridges, my web fluid will expand, and when fired, it will cause the web to fire farther because of all the pressure built inside.
Yeah.
And it makes everything stick together to itself. So the webbing will form a rope. And the hotter the weather, the more of a spiral rope you're going to get. And it looks straight out of the comic books, like Todd McFarlane's with all the knots inside of it.
Yeah. That's incredible.
I think I answered your question.
You definitely did.
Okay.
That's incredible. So, you do have to wait for the hot weather, but at the same time, you're wearing a Spidey suit in hot weather.
Yeah, I'd rather be wearing my suit in the heat, not the cold, because spandex, and it doesn't really hold well, because I'm not one of those guys that wear muscle suits and everything like that.
Yeah.
So I wear the compression pants to keep everything in check, so to say.
Yeah.
And then that's it. So everything that is shown, because if I wear so much, the suit's already tight, and if you wear stuff underneath it, you cause even more stretch. It might just be the tiniest bit of stretch, but that tiniest bit of stretch makes all the difference. Because
Yeah.
I've had suits break on me before.
Really?
So I try to wear only what is necessary under the suit, and then nothing else. So it's wintertime, no go. It's always bad.
Well, yeah, wow. I guess I hadn't really thought about it in the cold. I thought about it in the hot quite a bit.
Yeah, cold weather is not great. But unless you have like your last stand leather jacket outfits, then awesome, you can still do it. But then the webs don't really work too well. Then it fires off. It has like no pressure inside of it, so it doesn't really fire far. It's super cold, and it doesn't hold its form. It becomes like liquid on contact with air.
Oh, that sounds quite awful.
It's mad. At least it smells good. It took 3 years to get it to do that. But
So
that's the story.
like it works and it smells good?
Yeah, so what's funny about this stuff is before the sniffle pandemic happened,
Yeah.
I created these and they double as a hand sanitizer. It's always good to go wash your hands, of course, but if you can't get to somewhere at a certain time, you can just squirt a little bit into your hand and rub it in, because with my suits, I don't want to damage the suits. I used to have an actual glue as my web fluid, and the wrist of my first 2 suits were just destroyed. So when I made this stuff, oh my god, it made a world of difference. And then eventually I got it to smell good, and I was like, oh, dude, it's wonderful, and then it cleans, and it's awesome.
Wow, that is just an incredible combo. So, you mentioned that you've had suits rip on you before, and that kind of makes me want to lead into my next point. You have a figure for Spider-Man cosplay that is not seen very often. You have you have very broad shoulders.
Oh, yeah, the Tobey Maguire build.
Yeah.
The Dorito body.
Yeah, exactly. So, I wanted to ask, is there, like, anything you do to keep that kind of body shape, or is it just natural?
So, with my metabolism, I'm going to give the biggest shout out to, like, I'm at the Oscars type shout out to my metabolism. That has come in the clutch so hard, and I'm going to be sad when it's gone. But,
Okay.
to get it originally, are you wanting to know how I got the physique, or how I just maintain it?
How you maintain it?
How I maintain it is more of just super light, like push-ups and stuff like that, but I need to get back into it. What really, it's the kicker. It's one of my gifts, but also my curse. And for those that personally know me, and I've made it known to people before, but I've never just made posts about it, I have Tourette's syndrome.
Okay.
So in certain cases, it will turn into what you see on TV, but what I naturally have is I have these body tics and kind of little muscle spasms.
Yeah.
And for years, it took me forever to figure out what the hell I had. And when I figured out I had Tourette's, I figured out what part affects what, and it was just a whole trial and error system. But eventually, how I got it to work is whenever I have a muscle spasm or a tic or anything like that, I managed to get it to where my body will flex, and it will flex within my biceps and my chest and my lats, which is what helps keep that. And when you flex your body, at least from my experience, when you constantly flex the body, it just kind of keeps, making it harder, pumping the muscles into it, makes the muscle not degrade as fast. Also, I eat a lot of protein, so that's also another big part of it.
That's fair. So you turned
That's kind of like that.
So you turned your tics into essentially a workout.
Basically, that's the best way to put it.
Wow, that's impressive. I really love that.
It is something to eat. Well, I don't know how much to think about it. I just kind of do. Like, it's hard to explain on how it all works and how I got it there. Basically, the best way to describe this is I can't tell you how I got it to do it. It just kind of happened. So it's the whole Toby and Andrew with the whole, I wish I could show you how I shoot webs, but I kind of can't. I just like breathing. It's the best way to put it. For people that have Tourette's syndrome or muscle spasm tics, and then you manage to get control of them, you'll know what I'm talking about, but you won't know how to describe it to anybody.
Yeah, because it's not something you intentionally do.
Exactly.
That is kind of mind-blowing to me that your body can work that way and benefit itself unintentionally.
Of course, it has been a lifesaver to my Spider-Man physique. Especially
Yeah.
with all the surgery and everything like that, because I've been knocked on my ass for months at a time.
Jeez. So, okay, then let me kind of change the question. How did you get your physique?
So how I got my physique, I stuck more with cardio,
Okay.
just to keep the lean, slim figure. But where the broad shoulders and chest and lats all came in for that Dorito body,
Yeah.
that was when I worked at Joann's when I was 18, 19. And that's kind of where it all started coming in. Because at that point in time, I was experimenting with handstand push-ups, and I worked that into my actual workout routine. But at the time, I was still experimenting with it, getting the balance right, learning exactly how to hold myself. But while there, I became what's called the freight coordinator. And when we would get trucks that would come in to unload into the store, normally when semi-trucks come in, you have this forklift come in, pull out the stuff, and then you're done. We didn't have that. I was the forklift. So I was physically going into these trucks, lifting all of these boxes. Some were light, some were ungodly heavy. Because without any equipment and being so short-staffed, I would manage a crew, and I would just have them hold a line out front. I just unload the entire truck by hand. It'd take me, I'd go in for an 8-hour shift. At the time, if I got back into it, I'd probably go quicker, but at that time, it was more of a, okay, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna spend 4 hours unloading this truck, and then I'm going on break. So I'd spend 4 hours, at least once a week, just destroying my body nonstop, lifting these damn boxes. And I just did that for over the entire summer. And just naturally, I just kind of built that up. I don't really know how to properly explain that. Like, you can't tell you're getting bigger if you see yourself every day. But if somebody sees you in June and then they don't see you until November, there's going to be a major difference.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And that's how I figured out how, I have a wider physique. Because I ran into a buddy and he's like, holy shit, you got built. You go to the gym? And I'm like, no.
You just went to work.
Yeah, I went to work. I did my job.
That's really impressive. So, okay. So, I guess Joanne's kind of leads into my next question, I guess. I'm just trying to connect all of these questions. How did you kind of get into cosplaying and suit making?
So how I got into cosplay? Oh, this is hell of an episode 2 you have. This is more of a sadder story, how I got into the whole thing. No one died, but it's just,
I love
you
that.
listen to it, you're like, oh man, that sucks.
That was my first thought.
No one died. I did not. My Uncle Ben did not die because I don't have an Uncle Ben. But
Go ahead.
no, and in high school, as stated after rest, we didn't know this until I was a freshman in high school.
Okay.
But I was I was the outcast of the outcasts in high school. My brain didn't click. I didn't socially click, and within my hometown, I found out that the parents and the teachers labeled my graduating class the thug class. That's kind of how bad it was. Yeah, to where it was just not great. So I was in that class, and that was my K through 12 class. So for 12 years, that's what I dealt with.
Okay.
So I just couldn't connect them. They wouldn't accept anybody that was different. But even the outcasts of the group didn't want me.
Wow.
So eventually, I made some friends later on down the road, but it was so, I don't know how to explain it. But there was just not there's no connection. And I didn't have male role models in my life. I didn't have any role models. I had people who tried to be, but I couldn't connect to them either.
Yeah.
How I got into that was with the whole cosplay thing. It started off as, I want to do something good with my life. And I don't want to be what everybody kept thinking I was going to be. They thought I was going to be a school shooter. And I'm not even kidding on that. They made so many comments thinking I was going to come into school, then just...
Wait, like you specifically?
It's awful to think about. Yeah, people kept saying I was going to be the school shooter.
Wow.
And it really sucked. So I knew I wanted to do something with my life and prove everybody wrong. But I didn't know what to do. But I like helping people. And I can connect to people emotionally, but I can't connect to them. Well, at the time, I couldn't connect to them socially, as in, be normal, basically.
Yeah.
But I know there's plenty of other people out there who would go through what I go through. And kids who would grow up and they didn't have anybody to come there to kind of help them out and stuff like that. And like make things a bit better, kind of help them understand, hey, you're not alone, people get what you're feeling, it's okay. And I didn't know how to go about that. But then I saw my brother is autistic. So he did this like therapy thing, something about horses. It's like a horse riding therapy thing. I don't understand the logistics science of it. But it's one of those. They have those in town.
Okay.
While I was there, they brought in, and I don't know who this guy is. I haven't seen this person in years, but this person was dressed as Batman. And it was a really cool Batman outfit. And I saw that, and I was like, that's super cool. and I didn't know there was people like that did this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Later on, people kept kind of... What started the Spider-Man idea was when I had those friends finally. I don't remember what I did. I think I like jumped up and like grabbed the basketball hoop. I don't remember what I did. Either way, I landed in a superhero pose, and people were like, "Yo, you look like fucking Spider-Man when you land." I was like, "Okay," and then for like a week, didn't think anything of it. But then something happened with the role model thing, and it led to I didn't connect to Spider-Man, but I highly relate to the awkwardness of Peter Parker. Peter Parker became Spider-Man and did something good. Why don't I just do that?
Yeah.
So then I spent the rest of my high school years becoming Spider-Man, and that's what I fixated on. And then later on, after I graduated and stuff, got my first legit suit, had my Mark II web shooters, and just kind of did my thing for about a year. And then after going solo for a year, hopped in with the charity group I used to work with, and I've been getting better ever since.
That's amazing. So, did you make your first suit or buy it?
So my first legit suit, well, not legit suit, we're just gonna go off just down the rabbit hole.
Okay.
The first suit was a lot of help being sewn by my mother at the time, and it was a 2099 Spider-Man suit, but it was based off a Deadpool pattern. So it was highly sewn. It was so much extra work being done looking back on it, knowing how suits are really made.
Yeah.
So we took a Deadpool pattern, and then we just bought a bunch of blue fabric and just sewed it together in that pattern. So it's like, I could have just bought a giant blue bodysuit, honestly, but I didn't do that.
I'm thinking about that. I'm like, Deadpool has so many different features that I feel like it's so much work.
And looking on it now with my knowledge, I'm like, I could have just bought a blue morph suit and called it a fucking day. What the hell was I doing?
No kidding.
Yeah, so we did that. Then Homecoming came out, and so I took the broken remnants of the shirt and the pants of the 2099 suit. I went to the local Goodwill, found a red Elmo jacket, flipped it inside out, cut off the sleeves, put a spider on the front, put the hoodie on over the shirt, so I had the sleeveless hoodie look.
Nice.
And then I took the sleeves themselves and I pulled them over the leg to make the boot piece. And then I took an actual fabric Deadpool mask and I just cut away the black to make them smaller goggle eyes, and that was my second suit.
That's...
When I graduated, I then bought Brandon Gilbert's Iron Spider pattern, and that was my first legit suit.
Huh. I don't think I've heard of that. I'm going to say it out loud so I'll remember to do it in the future. I'm going to put that on screen.
Arachnid Studios, that was the brand name.
Alright, I'll check it out. But $20.99 is a bold first option for a suit.
It was super cool looking on it, and with how I did the fabric, I went to Joann's. Joann's is where I always bought my shit.
Yeah.
So I bought the metallic blue Lycra, and I had it stretched enough that I could look through it without having to put any eyepieces on.
Nice.
And everything else was just kind of good to go. The shoes were non-existent, so that sucked. But other than that, it was a pretty good suit. How we did the spikes, we took, what did I use? I used like the clear hard covers of folders, and I just cut those out into spikes and wrapped them in the red fabric that we used. It was like a spandex cotton mix, and then we just put those onto the arm when it was done. It was a 7-piece suit, so it was very over the top. Not something I should have used in my first suit.
That's very impressive. And how old were you when you were doing this?
Oh God, what? I was like 15, going on 16 at that time.
Wow. So now, do you buy suits or do you occasionally make one?
So now I buy my suits. I go through pattern designers and I'll have my custom patterns made. Right now, who I choose as my custom designer, I go through Real Heroes Design.
Yeah, same.
And he's the guy I go through now.
Oh, I go through him because of you.
Yeah, I remember shooting you because you sent me your spider design. I was like, hit up Real Heroes. He'll be able to make that work if he's got a commission open.
Yeah, and the pattern that you can see from my Discord logo is the suit pattern.
Oh, awesome! He got it made.
Yeah.
Awesome news.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I go through him now, and I get my stuff ordered. I would order it through either Zentai Zone, which is now Print Costume, or Heroes Time. Now I'm more kind of, until I get my massive amount of funds, which I won't go into that legally, but there is funds that are supposed to come into my account sometime within the next few years at the latest.
Okay.
But then I'm going to take the time to learn how to sew all my stuff, and I'm going to buy the stuff to get my business up and running, which is going to be what Kevin Creations does. I don't know if you know. Have you heard of him?
I have not. What does he do?
So he is, I think he's based in China. I think it's Hong Kong, to be specific. Don't quote me on that one.
I won't.
But he does what I'm going to be doing. And he does screen prints and dye subs and stuff like that. He has his own studio. And he will make the Hollywood grade outfits. And they look so good, so clean, so textured. And that's what I plan on doing here. So I can just stop waiting on a company to make my stuff. And it turned out it's not right, or they messed up the pattern, or it's sewn weird. I can just do it all myself because I'm very specific on how suits need to be because I'm just so OCD on it.
Yeah.
When I get that going, I plan on opening my own business, and how he can sell his stuff and within China and stuff like that, I would sell them in the United States.
Well, hey, man, once you have that up and running, send it over.
Yeah, once I get that up and running, I'll get the everything ready to go, and I can also open up the R&D company, which will be more within the 3D modeling. All my stuff will be more based on cosplay and nerd stuff.
Yeah.
So functional web shooters, because the next idea, I know we spoke about this before, I'm going to make the electronic web shooters.
Yeah.
So I have them under the glove, and I press the button and it fires them, instead of having to use the lever trigger constantly.
Yeah.
Another idea that I want to finally get to work on is Daredevil's the Baston sticks.
Nice.
Billy Club. And if I got to do some really good looking at Google Glass, the AR goggles, but I'm gonna also try to work on making a functional HUD that you can put inside masks and suits and stuff. That way you can kind of tell the time and everything, because when you wear your suits, you can't really tell the time unless somebody has a phone on them, or you can keep a phone on you. But if you're doing what I do, you're stuck in a spandex onesie, you got no way to tell the time. So if you have English, you have a HUD inside your mask, you can just kind of see what's what and keep track of time and events, see who's calling, basically all the Google Glass stuff inside of your suit.
That'd be incredible, especially for Spidey. I've wanted to try that with like an Iron Man helmet and stuff, but I'm a 16-year-old with 2 3D printers and no money, so we've all been there. Yeah. So okay, I have a question based off something you said a little bit ago. So your mom was supportive of you cosplaying?
Yes and no.
Explain.
She was kind of, but not fully. I mean, she was more like, oh, it's a cool idea and stuff, because how I started the suit originally for the 2099 suit, my homecoming theme was Marvel, the superhero themed, and my class here got Marvel as the superhero.
That's awesome.
Your theme, so that's why I made 2099 suit. She was like, oh, that's cool, and just doing school spirit stuff. Later on, though, I had made it known what my plan was, and not a lot of people are on board. If I was going to fail, they'll tell you, oh, they were supported from the beginning, and no, they weren't.
No.
And it's okay for them to think that. I mean, their kid who wasn't fully, I don't know the word for it, wasn't fully there, I guess.
Yeah, okay.
Wanting to wear spandex, and that's his life.
Yeah.
And of course, you're going to be skeptical.
Which is valid, because like when you first hear it, it's kind of like, oh, that's interesting.
Of course, and at the time, it wasn't even so mainstream. It was just starting to become more mainstream, but it wasn't anything like it is today.
Yeah.
But then I got good with it, started to make some money off of birthday gigs and stuff like that. Not a lot of money, but it was enough to show, okay, he's actually got something working for him. And then people started to come around, and I'm like, okay, now here you are.
Maybe that's what I need to do once I start, like, once I actually have my suit made, is start doing birthday party gigs and stuff.
I think that would be an alright way to go. I don't know where you're located at, but if you do some research and look up some charity organizations around the place and stuff like that, see if there's any other cosplay group out there that does kind of what I do. I don't know if that would be viable. I'd say while you're 16, though, stick with trying to get a good GPA for your transcripts and stuff. You don't go to college, but it's just good to keep that ready on standby in case you do decide to go, because I just went back to college. And be more of an adult. I now understand why the grown-ups say school's important.
I take it you don't exactly like that they were right.
No, not at all.
No, I'm definitely focusing on that. I'm also focusing on how I can make money while also doing what I like.
Don't expect a lot of gigs coming through. Just because especially if you're newer, if they just now find out about you, you can't just set a good price. Like, I just raised my prices to be something, and I rarely get birthday gigs anyway.
Yeah.
But it's just there as a side thing. Really, I don't even do this more for the birthdays. I do it just more because it's a good cause. Because I now cooperate with like 2 other charity groups while I run my own with 2 others, with a Batman and a Doctor Strange. Because we're the founders of this one.
That's so cool. I love hearing about Spidey cosplayers and people who are in costume actually doing good.
Not a lot you really see of that happening, unfortunately, but it is a good possibility, especially if you got the right heart and mindset.
Yeah.
Life happens, so of course things can kind of get in the way, but I mean, in the end, it all helps out. Even if you're not making any money from anything or anything like that, it helps. Yeah. Helps brighten the kid's day and probably help put them on a set path. I've had a kid from multiple events, like saw me at one event and then just wouldn't stop telling his mom that there was another event coming up, and then this little kid too. And then the mom found out we were at the next one, brought him to it, and I just happened to be the same Spider-Man, and I've seen it multiple times.
Oh, I love that.
You can really do a lot of good, especially if these kids, like if the kid really loves Spider-Man, you have the ability to keep the magic going. Yeah. So that's why I made these web shooters. That's why I focused on my physique and tried to maintain it now that I have it.
Oh, that is really amazing.
Well, that's why I'll spend thousands of dollars trying to perfect the perfect Spider-Man suit.
It's worth it.
It is worth it. My current one is this advanced suit that I'm just almost done with.
Yeah, I actually had a couple questions for you about that, if you don't mind.
All right.
So here, I'm just gonna bring up this one since this is quick. So with your advanced suit, you posted some pictures, I think it was today. Okay, sorry, it's 2 days ago. Of you and Deadpool.
Oh, yeah.
I might be out of the loop in everything, in the cosplay scene, but who is that?
So that is somebody who when we took those photos, I had met that guy like an hour prior, I think.
Okay.
I'm getting the timeline right. I had just met that dude that day, and what that was is over, because I'm based in St. Louis, Missouri. That's hence the name was STL Spidey.
Yeah. Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
I would help out. Yep. I would help out a charity group that I'm associated with over in Hannibal, and they're called the HHU, Hannibal Heroes Unlimited. Someone that you also follow, SPANDEX, she's part of them.
Okay.
So that's how I know her and everything like that.
Makes
but
sense.
I go and help them out with some of their stuff. They had a convention out there called FallCon. I've never been to it, so I figured, hey, I somehow managed to get this weekend off. I'm just gonna go out there and do my thing and give the suit a test run before it's fully finished.
Yeah.
So I just went out there to check out the con and ran into that Deadpool. I'm like, all right, well, I can kind of be stupid here. So he was getting his photo done. I kind of slid on in across the floor and then landed in the pose, and we just kind of went in character.
I love that. See, that's one thing I've loved about this community.
That is ultimate. Oh, you're talking. I'm sorry.
Sorry. Oh no, it's okay. I was just gonna say that's one thing I love about this community is that if you're wearing a suit and you're not a douchebag, even if you're not wearing a suit, people are very welcoming. Like,
relatively.
Well, that's fair because obviously with every fandom there's a negative side, but I've seen with like groups at Comic-Con and stuff that like 15 people who don't know each other outside of this are all messing around and hanging out together for quite a while. And that was honestly like my whole motivation for getting into this scene was that community.
My three main friends that I still see to this day, I met them in 2019 at Wizard World, which was a Comic-Con that used to be around. I think it got shut down. But Wizard World 2019, I met them because I went to be Spider-Man solo. I went to the thing, just kind of go around, network.
Yeah.
That was even before I smoked in the crew. I met the crew I worked with that day, as well as my three best friends.
That is amazing.
We met, we talked, and then like a little bit later, they were talking about meeting up somewhere, and then they mentioned a location, and I'm like, wait, are you guys in so-and-so? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, I live 10 minutes below you three. And they're like, oh, shit, we're hanging out.
That's cool. So, were they also Spideys?
Yeah, so one of them was I thought it was a Spider-Man Noir kind of version, but then I realized it wasn't. It was him dressed in a full tuck suit with a Spider-Man mask, one of those cheap ones, and then he had a fedora on top of it, and then he had this instrument. It's like a mini piano in your hand with a tube that runs up to your mouth.
Oh, yes.
I don't know the name of that instrument, but he was running around with that, just playing Spider-Man music, doing that. And they all went together as a group. So they've already known each other. I just happened to meet them all that day and just kind of came into the group.
Yeah.
The other one was dressed as the homecoming suit for Tom Holland's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And when he shaves and cuts his hair, he does look like a knockoff Tom Holland. So he pulled that off, and then the other buddy was dressed in the PS4 advanced suit.
I love that.
So we were all doing Spider stuff, and hell, that con, I have a story for that. Jason Momoa was supposed to be there that day.
Oh, wow.
Because I went on a separate day. He didn't show up. I don't know what happened, but he swapped his day to Sunday instead. But the booth, if you go to Comic-Con, you'll see they have these little booths and stands that people have a line in so they can go see them. It's like a little square that's blocked off.
Okay.
Well, one of them was empty, and it was the one right next to Jason Momoa's stuff. So nobody was over there, no one was bothering, and I just kind of claimed that as our spot, and somehow I became a cult leader. And if I can find those photos, they were in my original account on the highlights. I can probably roll through it and send it to you later so you can post it and put the slideshow up.
All right.
But we had this giant group of spider people that just kind of kept getting bigger, and everybody at the con thought we were part of the attraction, and we just got labeled as a spider cult, and I became a cult leader somehow.
That is amazing.
We got put on the front page for Saturday's thing that they were posting, because they would post like, here was Friday, here was Saturday, here was Sunday. I think the news came and interviewed all of us. I think it was like Channel 4 in the area, and I'm just like, what the hell is happening? All I did was pick a spot.
That is incredible. Wow. I feel like that's, I see, lost my train of thought. This upcoming year, it's been a long day. So I'm getting a suit made for a fan film I'm doing, and I'm wanting to go to Comic-Con this year. And those kind of things of like just finding other people who have a similar thing as you is basically the whole reason I want to go. Like, I don't want to say I'm a cosplayer yet, because I don't have a suit. I don't have anything that would define me as a cosplayer. But that's why I joined this community, is because it's, at least from what I saw, a large part of it is very welcoming.
A good amount of it is. I'd say just normal Comic-Con, you'd be fine. I noticed a little bit of stinginess. I've heard of stinginess. I've never perceived it myself. I just kind of get along with everybody. But I've heard some stinginess within the anime community. So be careful on the comment you pick.
No, I'm sticking with Spidey's.
There you go. Yeah, no, with Comic-Cons, it's all pretty welcoming. Again, kind of, keep an ear out on things and kind of survey the area, especially if you're going by yourself type thing.
Yeah.
But you can meet really cool people. Like, the vast majority of my friends I've met were from doing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of, and like the Deadpool that in that photo isn't the one I always work with. There's one that lives, what is it, like, because I moved around a lot.
Yeah.
I think he's like a full hour away from me now, but like for years he used the Deadpool to my Spider-Man, and like we just clicked.
That's awesome.
And like we don't plan any of our stuff, so all of our gags are all improv, and we just kind of work off each other.
That is amazing.
And that's one of my best friends. And so you can just, if you do it right, you can just make all the friends you possibly need.
That's so cool. I hear about, like, there are all these people I've followed on Instagram and stuff that are Spidey cosplayers. And I followed them for quite a while. And then I find out that everybody knows each other because they met at some event or something.
That's usually how it goes.
I love that. Because, like, last week I interviewed Sensational Spidey. And in the comments was somebody else I followed, Capital Cosplay. And it was cool because I've been trying to get him on here too. So it's so cool seeing the community kind of building on top of each other.
Yeah, it is a really cool thing. What are the cons I want to go to? I'm going to try to go for 2024. And I think it's actually going with that Deadpool that I was just talking about.
Yeah.
We're going to go by ourselves and just kind of get our own ruin type thing. But I've never been to Dragon Con. And I've heard so much about Dragon Con from him.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, we're going to Dragon Con. And I want to go to that and C2E2.
Yeah.
So with those, I've not met them, but I've talked with them. Zach I've spoken with. I've talked to Jake, I think it's Vanilla Ice. I'm blanking on the pronunciation of his name. But he's got like the red and black and the white upside down spider.
Yes. Oh, I've been trying to get him on here too.
Yeah, I've spoken to KA Cosplay. It's actually his face shell that I'm using for the Advanced 2.0 suit.
Gotcha.
I think I've spoken to Spider-Man a couple times, but there's a lot of them that I want to meet. But it's more just like I don't expect to become the best of friends with them, but it's just hey, here we are, we're all meeting. Like the spectacular Spider-Man, the guy with the web for the web fluid, like the actual web-looking substance.
Yeah, that guy.
I've spoken to him a lot. Like, we've spoken a lot of stuff, especially with me trying to create, because I ended up making those same webs. His was a lot better.
Yeah.
But mine were more of the basic stuff, and I got them to work, but they're just not, for what I do, it's not viable, unfortunately. Yeah. It looks cool, but I can't make that work, and it will damage my suits.
Yeah.
Like, him I want to meet. Mask, Tyler, I want to meet him as well. I want to go to these cons and just get out there, network more, especially get my name back out there since I had to rebrand.
That's fair.
And I lost that account.
That's totally fair. That's... So, hey, you know what? If there's anybody you actually want to, like, talk to and I ever get them on here, let me know. I'll do a double podcast. If
I can think of any and I don't feel like being a burden, sure. But with this being your whole bread and butter right here, for your cosplay thing, not your cosplay, your podcast thing. I'm gonna let you just do whatever you feel like doing. If you want me back, we'll see if I got time. But I think this is what we've got right now would be pretty good. There's not really much to me. I look at the build. I do a fancy hand spring thing. I spin some white stuff and I call it a day.
I feel like that's not how you should describe yourself.
That's 100% how I should describe myself. All the way, full send, no stop. I am a menace.
Okay.
The mustache man said so.
You know what? He did. And actually, we have him next here as our next guest. No, I'm kidding. That'd be funny, though.
Oh, dude, if you can get a hold of that one guy who cosplays as Jameson and goes through, like, the big Dragon Cons and yells at all the spider people.
Yes. Dude, for my fan series, I have only a couple scenes with J. Jonah in them, and I was trying to see if J.K. Simmons had, like, a cameo or something.
That'd have been cool if you could have gotten that.
Yeah, he doesn't, but that would have been so cool. So, we've gone over, like, your web shooters, we've gone over the community. Now I kind of have the bigger question. Oh, gosh. I just yanked my headphones. So, one of the big things you do is you do your logo stuff, right? I don't know what to call it. What would you call it?
What do you mean by the logo stuff?
So, okay, when we first started talking, you were doing, like, the, rubber, I think it was?
Oh, the urethane rubber and the dragon skin for the emblem?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, yeah. Well, what about that?
How did you get into that?
I wanted to be better at my craft and my work, so I reached out to Elfet, T-Jack Studios, and that account is no more, but I also reached out to E-Town Spidey,
Okay.
and they all kind of just taught me how to do the stuff.
Well, because it's crazy, because you're doing something that a lot of people wish they could do, and just aren't able to.
It's actually super easy. It's just super scary the first time you do it. And I haven't worked with dragon skin. I just now got back into it for the advanced suit that I'm working on. But dragon skin, I had to relearn. And I'm like, I have the basics down, but like, what's the difference with stuff? So Abilene Spidey, I think I pronounced his name right. He's based in Texas. Me and him have been chatting a lot. And he did an advanced suit. He kind of gave me the refresher course on dragon skin. Hence why I've worked on this. But I have a story on that too. That's kind of like a funny joke for me and him. I have Parker Luck.
Oh, gosh.
You know what the Parker Luck is?
Yes.
Yeah, I have that hardcore. And Abilene Spidey got to witness it 3 times on this suit.
What happened?
And, so the first suit I ordered, because I have 2 versions of this suit right now.
The
first one I
PS5
ordered-
Advance.
Yes, the PS5 suit.
Okay.
The first one I ordered, I'm so used to ordering colored fabric suits.
Yeah.
I don't do the dye stuff anymore just because it looks better in the lighting and stuff, but trying to get this suit done in colored fabrics as well as do all my paint work and stuff, both companies are weird. So with Print Costume, they can do colored fabric suits and the webbing sticks. But with Heroes Time, their colored fabric suits, the webbing will not stick. I painted a suit from Heroes Time in colored fabrics and it all fell off. It
Wow.
it does not adhere to the fabric.
Okay.
So my thought process was, Heroes Time can sew together this PS5 suit. So why don't I just get the fabrics from Print Costume and then send it over to Heroes Time? Both companies said no, they weren't going to do that. So I'm like, okay, I got to go back to this white dye sub. I pick up the dye sub suit, get it ordered, it arrives. I'm an idiot and forgot that these dye sub suits are tighter because it's all one piece of fabric sewn together within like the main details and everything like that.
Yeah.
So it was tighter on my hips, and I didn't put shoes in the suit. I was going to add my own shoes so I don't re-break my foot, because I broke my foot being Spider-Man. Hence why with some of my older suits I have like these weird shoe designs.
Jeez,
But with
how
this
many
one, I was going to
injuries?
put my own shoe in. What?
No, go ahead. I'll ask after.
Okay. Yeah, so I was going to put my own shoes in, and I butchered that whole process hard to where the feet were just unbearable to wear. So I put replacement ones in. I tore the Kung Fu shoes out of the 2022 suit since I'm never wearing that again.
Yeah.
For personal reasons. And I put them into this, and I was like, okay, I have to reorder the suit. Well, with this suit still being relatively alright, the moment I got it finished up, I was doing an event to help out my mother with her charity group, and there was a bike wreck, pedal bike, not motorcycle wreck.
Yeah.
But there was a pedal bike thing that kind of happened, and then I got knocked into it somehow, and I ended up tearing the arm of the suit. So that suit's basically donezo. And I was like, crap, I can't even salvage this suit now. So then I reordered the suit. I get it, it arrives, it all fits well. So then now I order the dragon skin, and I get it from Amazon. The same link that Albaline uses. And so it arrives. It's the wrong shit.
No.
And so, yep, it's the wrong stuff. They put the label of the correct item onto the wrong box with the wrong product.
That.
So I message him on that. He sees it, and I'm like, bro, Parker luck. And he's like, you got it. It's like the second time on this suit. And so then I reorder it with a replacement. And then the replacement comes. I open it up. It's the same fucking issue.
Are you serious?
Yeah, they messed up the same way again. So someone at the facility labeled all the wrong stuff. So then I sent him a photo of that. He's like, dude, 3 times in a row. Like, I could probably screenshot that and shoot it out to you. You can have that as the post thing. It's like, bro, 3 times in a row with this Parker luck issue.
Wow.
The only thing I can really say with the dragon skin is I ended up just using it anyway, and it works, but you gotta be like fast on your feet with this stuff, because the stuff I was supposed to use would dry and cure in 4 hours, which gives you enough time to work with it, make sure everything's great, and you're good. This stuff cures in 40 minutes.
Oh god.
And and you only have like 12 minutes to work with it before it starts to cure. And you take a few minutes to get it all mixed and everything applied. So I'm like fast on my feet. When I did the hit parts, those were fine, but then I had to redo this chest emblem 3 times. I had to put it all in. First time, I didn't have enough. So then I had to wait for it to cure and then tear it off the suit. And then the second time, I had way too much. And then it's so much overspill. So then I tore that off the suit. Then the third time I put that in, and now it's good. And then I also did the back emblem, so that's good to go with this dragon skin stuff.
So
and I made that post earlier today.
Wow, that you weren't kidding with your Parker luck. So you've mentioned dragon skin quite a bit. What is that?
That is silicone rubber.
Okay. And
what that is, it's used more for like VFX stuff or FX stuff. Why did I say VF? It's for like the FX prop work, for like latex masks and things like that. At least that's what my bottle says it's for this particular kind.
Okay.
But I learned this more from Elfvet with this one. This is the best way to add the suits if you want to get your 3D emblem effect, but you already have the emblem dye subbed into your suit.
Yeah.
So this is the way to go for those textures, or like for the advanced suit, for all the armor parts, like for the arms and everything.
Okay. Okay.
So I think that's the best way to describe dragon skin. It's like a really stretchy rubber that you have to mix 2 parts together and mix them, and then they start to cure. You have to mix them 1 to 1.
Okay. So, you do logos like that. So that then makes me wonder, how do you wash your suits?
In the
Do you?
bathtub.
Do you? Oh, you do, okay.
Yep, just throw it in a cold bath, and then I put detergent crap into it, and then just kind of hand wash it.
It's fair. Because, like, you don't want to throw it in the washer, it'll get destroyed.
Oh, yeah, it will completely ruin it, especially with all the paintwork on it.
You do.
I think I've known some people who were able to do it, but I can't remember who exactly was able to pull it off, but I don't want to risk it, so I'll just stick with what I know would work.
Yeah, I completely agree. Do you ever, So wait, do you do puff paint or urethane webbings?
So I do puff paint webbing. I don't do urethane webbing, because I've done other logos in urethane, so I know how urethane goes, but to attach your urethane You have to attach it with a glue. And when you glue onto fabric, where that glue is on the fabric no longer has stretch because it has to stay in place. So if you want to be able to move around and stretch, you'll have urethane webbing, but then it's going to constantly break and crack. And I think, if I'm remembering correctly, that issue happened a lot when they were filming Toby's movies because the urethane kept cracking.
I mean,
they had to constantly repair it.
Isn't exactly surprising. So I've heard a very similar thing with puff painting, that if you puff paint your suit, it loses a lot of its stretch. Is that true?
If you don't add liquid latex into it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you have to take, like, Spirit Halloween sells it for like a thing for $20, and I bought mine back in 2020, and I still have the same bottle.
Okay.
So you just kind of mix that into your puff paint mixture. There's some tutorials on YouTube for that. But you get that mixed in, and then it makes your puff paint have more stretch and durability.
Huh. That wouldn't have been my first thought. So I do think that is all the time we had. So thank you so much for coming on.
Of course, thank you for letting me ramble for God knows how long.
Of course. It's a pleasure. I'm gonna say goodbye to the audience real quick, and then I'll say bye. Everyone, thank you for watching. Tune in next week, same time, for the episode 3 of the Creatorcast. Bye.